You must be saying, another show from backsportspage.com. You're damn right. All right. So this is the Big Blue Report. My name is Randy Zellea, along with Ryan Stern from the Zero Technique Podcast. I'm from Off Topic, Hardwood Huddle, the Cut Pro Wrestling Podcast, and many more. First off, Ryan, it's good to see you, my friend.
As always, the pleasure is yours. Mine.
I figured as much. And listen, we're here talking New York Giant football, and this is sort of a new show that we're going to be trying out and seeing if we can put it together. Everything New York Giants, Big Blue fans, we're going to try and help you guys out as much as you can, get you prepared for the 2021 season. Hopefully we will be back in person, not via Zoom, but sometimes those Zoom calls are a little helpful too. Tomorrow is supposed to be the start of minicamp, and I was excited to get an email today, and I was like, but are we going in person? That is the question. Are we going in person or is it virtual? So with that being said, Ryan Stern, welcome. You are the community Giant fan. I am the community Giant guy for, I guess, the writer or whatever you want to call me this week. I don't know. So before we get started with any guests and before we get started with how we're going to do this, I think that we have to discuss the schedule, where we're heading. And, the schedule came out yesterday, and I got to tell you, it's an interesting schedule, to say the least.
Yeah, and usually because the Giants and Jets do share a stadium, we tend to see a pretty consistent home road throughout the years. And I mean, there are 3 times on this schedule where the Giants have back-to-back road games.
Yeah, I'm really looking at the schedule right now, and you're starting off with the Denver Broncos, and let's dive into this a little bit. We do not know which version of the Denver Broncos we're going to be having at this point. I was listening to radio stations in the local market yesterday, and they're sitting there saying, well, what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers because he's the perfect fit for the Denver Broncos? And I keep on saying this. Until he's a member of the Denver Broncos, he's not a member of the Denver Broncos. So let's prepare for Drew Luck. And I look at this.
Or Teddy Bridgewater.
And let's also look at this from the perspective. Let's not even get into the Denver side of it. Gone from the Giants is Golden Tate. Gone from the Giants is Dalvin Tomlinson. Yeah, that's, and to me,
Kyler Fackrell.
Yeah, well, let's go back to Tomlinson before we jump into any of that. Let's go into Tomlinson, and I think we have to look at a realistic thing that has not been talked about. Leonard Williams does not have the season he had last season if it were not for Dalvin Tomlinson.
Yeah. Although it's fine because I think that's the overall perception. But when you break down a lot of Leonard Williams' key stats, it doesn't necessarily it doesn't necessarily flow with that point. There were over half of Leonard Williams' sacks were on plays that Dalvin Tomlinson was not on the field. Now, his impact in the backfield on plays that he didn't get sacks on, yes, that was a lot due to Dalvin Tomlinson's ability to eat up space and to eat up double teams and make it easier for Leonard Williams. And it's going to be really tough to replace. But I do think that this is a year where we see Dexter Lawrence be able to step up and fill that Dalvin Tomlinson role on an every down basis.
It's funny you say that too, because I look at what Dalvin Tomlinson did for this franchise, and does he deserve? I think every player in their own way deserves to get paid. I think Dalvin Tomlinson really got the short end of the stick here, not getting the money from the Giants. But at the same time, there's only so much money what you can do, or what you can do with. The Giants were in a tough situation this offseason because they still just didn't have a lot of money. They had a lot of dead money.
It's funny. They certainly made a lot of moves for a team that didn't have a lot of money.
It's the truth though. someone made a comment to me. They're like, "How much money do they really have?" I'm like, "Not a lot." Do you have a number? I'm like, "I think it's that low where you just don't really have it. Like you just don't have the money at this point, and that's okay. And that's okay. Like you said, the Giants made a lot of moves about Galladay, and I'm not happy with that move whatsoever. Just from me, from my perspective. Listen, you know me. He's been injury prone in Detroit, but then again, everyone's injury prone in Detroit. He was injury prone. Listen, how many games did he play last season?
Well, last season, the reason that he didn't play is because I think he was being held back by Detroit. I think that they wanted other teams to believe that he was more injured than he really was, with the thought in mind that it would be easier for them to retain him in the offseason. He had expressed his desire to come back and play, and he just kept being inactive. I think he could have played the last month of that season. But I really do think he was being held back by the Detroit Lions because they knew that it would have been in their best interest.
Okay. No, that's fair. Everyone has. I just look at that move and I was just like, eh. This is the schedule show. We will break down more of the offseason on our next show. Let's talk about the schedule. The Denver Broncos. If it's the version of the Denver Broncos that we are seeing right now, I like the matchup for Joe Judge, and I've been. You remember last year? I was very shouting from the rooftops. They had no offseason, they had no spring, and a depleted training camp, and they had no preseason. So it took a little while for everyone to sort of get their feet wet and the camaraderie to get together. And the Giants played a lot better towards the end of the year last year, but they were not it did not show during the whole season. There are pieces of each game that they did very good things, but it did not mesh well together. And that last game against the Cowboys worked out for them. It just so happens that Philadelphia and Washington got to an agreement and said, "Hey, let's not try." And
no, that was Doug Peterson legitimately tanking an NFL game.
Yes, and that's what that was. So I look at the Giants to be a lot more prepared this year. I look at Joe Judge. This is going to be like Eli's second year, even though they lost to Carolina in the playoffs. I feel that team's going to be going into this season much more prepared. I think Daniel Jones's turnovers are going to be cut down, and the key factor is going to be Saquon Barkley coming back into the lineup.
We're getting Barkley, who played 5 quarters last year, and so he'll be back. And you have to look at when the Giants started playing really well, what sort of plateaued that increase in camaraderie, in just overall play on the field. It was plateaued by the injury to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones missed some time, and then even games that he had played, like the one in Cincinnati, he came back and he was clearly not healthy.
No, he was not ready to go at all. No. Definitely not.
And if Daniel Jones is healthy throughout the year, I think they win at least one of those extra games and they end up getting into the playoffs. And again, not saying that they were going to do anything once they had gotten there, but you never know. And this team is markedly better this year than it was last year, and they're going to have a full off season. I mean, again, not with the OTAs because we're having player solidarity, but they're going to be in mini camps, the ones that are mandatory. They are going to have a full training camp, and they are going to have 3 preseason games. Those preseason games for a team with a new entire coaching staff is so important because you need to be able to establish what you're going to do on the field and not just be thrown into the wolves against a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers on a Monday night. So I think having this full off season and another year of maturity with Daniel Jones is only going to be beneficial. The one thing that still is going to be the biggest question mark, and you know it as well as I, is going to be the play of the offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 110%. That offensive line needs to step up and be more active this year, be able to protect Eli. Zettler being gone and being waived is it shows how much that they really did value him, which wasn't that much. I know what you're going to say, that it was a cap number, but
right. And to be honest, it was the him being waived that allowed them to go after someone like a Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, no, that's true too. And look, I'm one of the firm believers of, you have to find a way to make things work. And if you have other needs and you have guys who are taking a big salary number up, you have to make those moves. Let's go down to the week 2 of the NFL season for the Giants against the Washington football team. Yeah. Look, say what you want about Juan Rivera. He got more out of his team last year than anybody thought he was going to get out of him. And look, they made the playoffs. Yes, 7-9. Obviously made some shakeup moves. Dwayne Haskins no longer a member of that team.
He was never a member of that team.
He tried. He gave an effort, but he tried. And so
if that's all you can say about your franchise quarterback, first round draft pick, he gave an effort.
Yeah.
We don't know what kind of effort, but he gave one.
He did more than Ryan Leaf. Let's put it that way. So
you and I have done more than Ryan Leaf.
Bad example. So with that being said, look, the Washington football team obviously making some moves. No more Alex Smith, making some changes all around the board. The Giants seem to always have success against the Washington football team. I don't see this being that much different. And by the way, if anyone's looking for me to start giving you wins and losses, and
that's not going to happen on this show.
No, I'm not doing that right now. No. Mostly because we have so much time between now and the regular season. Saquon Barkley can tear his quad and be wearing it around his neck by the time the season starts. I hope that doesn't happen, by the way.
Those are really big quads.
Yeah, those are
those are really, really big quads.
You bring out nothing but truth in that statement, my friend. Nothing but truth. So with that being said, though, like the Giants seem to always have a lot of success against the Washington football team, and the moves that Juan Rivera and that franchise is making. Ron Rivera. Juan Rivera. Why am I keep saying Juan Rivera? Ron Rivera. Ron.
Wasn't Juan Rivera a basketball player?
No, I think he was a baseball player. He was a baseball player.
That's Mariano Rivera.
No, there's multiple. Major League Baseball has multiple Riveras. Just for the record. So, I so don't like you right now. It's amazing to me. I listen to you talk, and it makes me irk. You irk me right now. So with that being said,
my wife says that all the time.
Yeah. No comment, my friend. So with that being said, though, I just think that Washington their defense has been solid. I get a kick out of the fact that Landon Collins is like, hey, we're gonna be much better now. There's there's not much more you can go lower than, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is an interesting year for Washington because they obviously have a very solid defense in play. Their offensive line makes the Giants look good. That's how crazy the Washington offensive line is. I know that they did just sign the former left tackle for the Chicago Bears, Charles Leno. That's going to be an upgrade, but I mean, they only have one decent piece on that line, and that's Brendan Sheriff coming back from last year. They did make I love that they were able to go out and trade back for Eric Flowers. That's how in desperation the Washington football team's offensive line is. They needed to trade for Eric Flowers.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
You're not really.
Yeah, so I mean, and then they bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and is Ryan Fitzpatrick an upgrade over Taylor Heineke? Yeah, but he's still Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I like his name, Heineke. That's
Ryan. How many playoff games has Ryan Fitzpatrick won in his career?
0, my friend. 0.
Yeah, so I mean, we love the beard, we love his gunslinger mentality and his carefree attitude. We love that about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Doesn't mean he's really good.
Yeah, that game will be fun to watch, interesting to see. Check out the Washington football team, September 16th, game 2, away game. The next game home is the Atlanta Falcons. Look, you and I were joking the other day saying Aaron Rodgers and Julio Jones both have a great chance to be traded. Interesting to see where this one goes. Matt Ryan I feel like is playing on borrowed time. It just feels like how they are not able to move on from him still is beyond me. The Falcons, to me, have always been that, oh, we were so close type of mentality team. Yeah, they're not there. I'm not buying it. You have it's a hard sell to me. So that's to me, that's the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, and with the Falcons, I keep hearing, and you had mentioned this. We were talking about with Julio Jones, Aaron Rodgers. I keep hearing that there is a greater chance that Julio Jones gets traded away than there is of Aaron Rodgers getting traded away. So if that's what ends up happening, this is a completely different team. Yes, they draft Kyle Pitts, but do you know the 2 best seasons by a tight end over the last since the year 2000? Do you know who the 2 best seasons by a tight end were from?
I saw this in Jeopardy. Hold on.
No, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay.
The 2 best.
Our conversation the other day was that Aaron Rodgers can do no wrong. He walks on water. He can throw the ball to himself. He can catch the ball to himself. It's one of those things. And you hear this, simply the best. Better than all the rest.
The 2 best rookie tight end seasons since the year 2000 are from Jeremy Shockey and Evan Ingram.
We're going to have a conversation about Evan Ingram in future shows, by the way.
My God.
Real
and
quick.
It won't be nice.
No, so that was that's going to be the final game of September. Looking at October, we're trying to keep this timely, and we keep getting off track, and it's partially my fault because I'm driving the bus. But the Giants have 2 straight away games. They have the New Orleans Saints without Drew Brees. That Jameis Winston is there, and total
or
remake.
Is it Taysom Hill?
Yeah, or it's going to be Hill. It's either way. The Giants have always struggled going into New Orleans. Yeah. They'll be there on October 3rd, and then the following week they're in Dallas for their first second division game of this season for them. But the first time against the Cowboys, obviously since their win last year, which snapped a long streak. And look, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are correct not to give up on Mike McCarthy. I think that this will come together. Obviously, they lost Dak Prescott last year, and there's a major difference between Dak Prescott in that offense and Andy Dalton. So, again, it should be interesting. Then they host the Rams, which look a lot different with Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and, the Rams, looking at and first of all, I mean, that NFC West is that's a brutal division. But the Rams right now are going to be one of my preseason favorites to walk away with a Lombardi trophy. I love Sean McVay as a coach. I think he is one of the more brilliant minds we have. And a lot of people are putting Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford on the same tier. It's not even close. It is not even. Matthew Stafford is so much better than Jared Goff, and there's a reason why they had to give up 2 firsts and Jared Goff to get Matthew Stafford in the building. He is just going to make that team even better. They are going to be a scary sight for any team that has the Rams lined up on their schedule.
And then the following week, October 24th, will be the Carolina Panthers.
Nothing's going on that day.
No, that's going to be a day where there's just not much going on.
Yeah. We'll watch the game together.
Yeah, sure. We'll get a little party together. The following week, Monday Night Football, November 1st, against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right, the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. Monday night game. I don't have high hopes for this one.
No, going up against Patrick Mahomes in the national spotlight. Yeah, and not to spoil anything, but the Giants do have 2 out of 3 games against the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. Both of them on the road, both of them on Monday night. Yeah, that's that great job, schedule makers.
Well, I got a kick out of this because the first thing I thought of was Drew Carey singing, "I've got high hopes." I've got high hopes. Following week at home, November 7th, Sunday afternoon, 1:00 against the Rams, not the Rams, the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Thank God the Giants don't have to go to Vegas because God knows what would happen. A lot of flip cup would happen probably. Listen,
I can't wait for the first time the Giants go out to Vegas because I will be there for that one.
We have bye week on week 10, which I always think it's probably the best shot.
The Giants always, and I love bye weeks between 8 and 10. And the Giants always have a bye week between 8 and 10. That's the one thing that I see on a consistent basis that I absolutely love. The Giants always have a preferred week for the bye week.
Yeah, I think it's very nice that the schedule makers work with them on that. November 22nd, Monday Night Football. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the New York Giants. Hopefully, this game will be as good as their game from last season.
A 2-point conversion away from tying up the game against the eventual Super Bowl champions. They played one of their more inspired games that day.
Then they host the first of 2 games against Philadelphia on November 28th, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, how about that? It's not until Thanksgiving that we see Philly for the first time.
Then the following week, we enter December 5th. With the Miami Dolphins down in Florida. That might be a road game for some people going down there to enjoy it, but it's usually a home game for the Giants when they go down to Miami because all the transplants are down there, baby. The transplants,
and especially this year when we saw last year. Obviously, there was not every stadium, including MetLife. Not everyone had fans in the stadium, and it sounds like Roger Goodell is very sure that we are going to start the 2021 season with a full stadiums in terms of fans. So the fact that not only are we going to finally get fans back in the stadiums, but it looks like we're going to have full stadiums as well. There's going to be, I think, especially for Giants fans who weren't able to go to any games last year, are going to do whatever they can to get into a stadium. And we know, hey, Giants fans travel great. You have the
just big, ask LPG. Ask LPG
Yeah.
about that.
What did Joe say that this was his 20 something year in a row that he'll be at every road game? Obviously he was only able to get to 5, but that was because 3 of the games last year on the road did not have any fans in. But you have the Big Blue Wrecking Crew that does such a great job with tours and gathering fans for these road trips. They put such a good package together for Giants fans.
Have you participated in that?
Once years ago. It was in the Kerry Collins years.
Oh God.
Yeah.
mean the Kerry Collins year.
Yeah.
the Kerry Collins year.
2. He had 2 or 3 years with the Giants, right?
Yeah, I think it was 2 years with the Giants.
Yeah, and obviously one of them was
A Super Bowl year,
a Super Bowl year.
and the other one put Jim Fossil in rehab. So let's
put a lot of Giant fans in rehab.
rehab. Yeah, exactly. So then we're moving on here. We got a little off track. The December 12th, we have they're going out to Los Angeles. 2 straight road games. December 12th, Los Angeles, the Chargers, and man, that situation out there. I've never seen a fan base revolt against an owner as much as Charger fans do. My God, people in Los Angeles last year were holding up signs saying "Go back to San Diego."
Yeah, and there's another game that you can expect that to be a Giants home game in terms of how many fans are going to be in the stadium. I'm not sure what the fan base is going to be. Obviously, we still haven't seen the Chargers play outside of a soccer stadium in Los Angeles yet, because they didn't have any fans all year last year, and their first year in LA was in a stadium that held 28,000, and there were consistently more fans of their opponents in that stadium. I'm sure the locals will be drawn to the new stadium that's out there. It is absolutely gorgeous. But who knows how passionate they are going to be about the Chargers while they're out there. How many fans are going to make the trip up from San Diego to LA? We don't know what that's going to look like. I can easily see this being a 50-50 split, because I'm sure Giant fans will want to get out to LA and check that out as well.
The following week, a couple days after my birthday, I always call that my birthday game. They host the Dallas Cowboys. Again, we discussed that before. The following week, day after Christmas, baby, December 26th, down in Philadelphia. And then the Chicago Bears will thank the Giants in person, or the Giants will thank them in person. They go to Chicago January.
That's going to be a win-win game for the Giants. No matter who wins or loses that game, the Giants are going to benefit somehow in a draft pick.
Yep, definitely. And if they conclude the 2021 campaign in 2022 on January 9th at home against Washington. So even if it's a bad season, we can at least finish strong against Washington. So let's go to some of the predictions. I went on Facebook, asked people to give me some numbers on where they think the season was going to end. And we'll start off with our own Bill Ingram. Bill, of course, Bill, my co-host on the Hardwood Huddle, makes the comment, well, they played Dallas twice, so there's 2 wins right there. Robert Sharple says they're going to finish with 8. So I guess we're doing 8 wins, so it's not 8-8, so it's 8-9. So Robert Sharple says 8-9. Greg Enico goes 1-16. Mike Ryan goes 9-8. David Strauss 10-7. Another 8-9 prediction from Pete Strauss. Mike Berger goes 11-6. Our own Henry, I can't pronounce Henry's last name.
Winkelheit.
Yeah, Winkelheit. He goes 7-10. And he says, I'm not a Giants fan, but they're saying 7-10. Brett Pullman, 10-7. Mayor Fairlawn, New Jersey, Kurt Peluso, 10-7. And Juan Pla goes 11-6 to the New York Giants. So go for it, Ryan. Let's give me a number from your perspective. Go for it.
Oh, in order, I think with the amount of moves that they made, they're obviously showing that they're going after at least a division or a wild card berth, that they think that it is truly possible. So I do think that 9 wins is their goal. They need to have 9 wins in order to make this a successful season. So, I mean, 9 and 8, I think that's easily obtainable. I put in a post. I can see it being anywhere from 7-10 to 10-7. That's the balloon that I think that fits most with the Giants.
I look at this differently than last season, obviously, because of the team actually having time together. They're going to have a spring. They're going to have a preseason. And I look at this different, and I'm looking to go anywhere between 9 and 11 wins. I think that's reasonable. And like you look at this, you look at the schedule, you look at this for this team. I can't help but being able to pick out some of the wins. I look at the 2 Washington games. I see them winning both Washington games. I can see them splitting with Dallas. I can see them maybe sweeping Philly, because Philly didn't really do a lot to help.
I think this is a down year for those dirty people.
Birds. Those dirty birds. So I'll give you the benefit of doubt. So they'll split with Dallas, sweep Washington, and sweep Philly. So that's 5 wins right there. I think if Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up to Denver, I think that's a win on opening day. I think Atlanta's a little bit of a mess. I think that's a win right there. I am
to me, obviously Dallas is a strong team. Can we settle for a split? Yeah, I think a split is obtainable. I think there are there are 3 games that stick out to me. The Rams, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, as being games that I wouldn't necessarily expect to win. Can they win? Obviously, they're not going to go 14-3 or 13-4 with a split from Dallas and then the Rams, KC, and Tampa. They're not going to go 13-4. But
I see them losing both Monday night.
All of those other games, you can't. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, they're definitely losing this one. But so, yeah, can 11 wins be on the table? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think 11 wins on the table. I think they lose both Monday night games.
Yeah,
I think they can beat the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders aren't good.
and I think they beat Carolina as well.
Yeah.
What's going on that day? I don't know. Something's going on that day.
So something. The tough game. There's also, I think Miami is a tough game. I think they're a really good team. It's all going to depend on the progress of Tua Tagovailoa. They made strides in. They were a game away from the playoffs last year after being one of those tanking teams. I think that Brian Flores has done a great job down in Miami. So I do think that game is going to be a tough win. And then, again, anytime you have to travel across the country, it's tough. So obviously the Charger game is going to be difficult. They did a good job improving their team this year, but there aren't a lot of games that I see on the schedule that I say, oh yeah, they're definitely going to lose. I don't see a lot that I say they're definitely going to win. But I do think that there are more of the games that I would lean towards winning than lean towards losing.
Just keep checking out all the information about the Big Blue Report on backsportspage.com. You can check Ryan out every single Wednesday night. The Zero Technique podcast. I'm on about 45 different podcasts every single week. That's what it feels like at times. Check out the Cut Pro Wrestling podcast. Check out the Hardwood Huddle. Check out Off Topic, which is returning in the next week or so. And also check out the Big Blue Report. We're going to figure out timing when we're going to do this. Mini camp starts tomorrow, so I might be doing some live broadcasts if it's in person from the stadium. We would just never know. So we'll keep all that going. For Ryan Stern, Ryan, thank you for doing this. Obviously, we'll get more production value and all these different things coming in the future. But this was like a thrown idea. I called him this morning. I'm like, what do you think about going on the air doing the Big Blue Report? and you're like, already? I'm like, yeah, why not? I don't know why.
But between the two of us, we do have a bunch of connections within the Giants organization. This is going to be a fun podcast to do because we're gonna get some players on. We're gonna get some a lot of Giants alumni, whether it be players, maybe a coach or two, even some writers. This is going to be a very informative podcast for Giants fans.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know why when my voice went really high before, I sounded like Jay Leno. I was like, yeah, I don't know why that happened. But listen, with that being said, Ryan, I thank you guys. Thanks for taking a few minutes to check us out. It's only going to get better. And if you like me, awesome. If you don't like me, talk to him. So, that's just the way it goes. We'll check you out next time. I don't like me. I don't like me either. Check out the Big Blue Report at backsportspage.com. We'll see you later.